Let me get this ready for you. Is it true? Vinci is behind the camera. No, but my green screen is behind the camera and falling over. So, maybe I'll just come to the camera now. Yeah! This thing is literally half on the floor. And this is the Season 9 Playoffs finale. And it's just fallen over again. Fuck.
Joe Duke Joe Joe Joelian Joe 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 Joan Yo F Joe. Joe Duke Joe Joan Joe 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 Joan Yo F Joe. Joe Duke Joe Joe Joe. Joe Joe.
We're ready.
Joe Joe Joan Joe Joe.
This is not Joe Biden.
Joe Iowans Joe.
I should get Joe.
Joe 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 Joe.
I should.
Joe Hart Joe Yo F Juke.
It's the playoffs. We're in the quarterfinals. You know what it is. We start with the first quarterfinals, featuring myself, the undefeated, coming into this battle against the reigning champions, the Vs Deino. Last time we battled, I won because I hit 3 focus blasts in a row. Will that continue? Because I can show you the lineups for these 2 battles. The Aselgor has come again, but 2 changes, 1 for each side. You see the Entei coming, no Aselgor, which 5 head, I recall at the time knowing he wouldn't bring Aselgor because it's so hard countered by Scrafty and Aselgor. So I dumped the Scrafty and was like, I can bring something else. So I bring Manectric. Which speed ties with Megalopony and gets completely shut down by Spadef or AV Mudsdale. Last time AV Mudsdale with Endeavour probably should have run Flupkey the battle. It didn't because I hit 3 focus blasts. So maybe expecting that again. I'm expecting quick attack Lopunny so that it can't get outplayed by a fake out into protect Aselgor. So either way, the mind games in this quarterfinal are off the charts. That's kind of all the way it is with rematches. Makes it awkward to play, but fun to watch. Hello, Casper. Hello, Joe. Thank you. And Kat for the 27 months. Good to see you here, John. Kat, I look forward to giving you a revamped Entei logo the upcoming season, but we've got the focus of this season right here. So, we'll play on slow. Turn 1. And I open with the Ferrothorn. My absolute priority this battle is to just get rocks up. So I take the Flamethrower with the Ockerberry. I click Leech Seed. Kind of expecting him to use like Z Flying, predicting my potential switch, which probably was a misplay. But the Entei comes in response. But obviously not wanting to die to a Flamethrower, I do go into Chandelure. Which is kind of a double dodgy because it could get hit by a Stone Edge. When Flupkey reveals Shadow Ball Entei. It's special Entei. Which I have to say is kind of good news for me. Because it would have to calm mind to really become a problem. So I set up the light screen anyway. Revealing that I am indeed without a light clay because Tapu Fini is a bit flawed and kind of desperately needs leftovers. This fella reveals Seismic Toss, which is a problem, because that means it can still do damage to Fini and Ferrothorn, who otherwise, certainly with a light screen up blocking any sort of Aura Sphere, would be very much walling it. So that's okay. I figured I'll make this Blastoise slower than me. So I take the Seismic Toss, and I click Thunder Wave. So I don't get rocks up. I do not get rocks up. I go into Chandelure. Blocking the Seismic Toss. Yeah, Yeah, terrains are kind of shit. That's why I hate Gen 7, but it's fine. So Entei comes in. But that's all good, because I'm reading this. I click the Shadow Ball. I do 37%. And now Entei reveals leftovers. The light screen goes down. It starts to calm mine, but I'm thinking it has to calm mine to become a threat, so I keep getting the damage on, and 27% still means it can't sub, as it had to be sub calm mine if it came to this matchup. Now, knowing it's going to attack this turn, I sack off the Ferrothorn. Very sad. It means I get no rocks. It means I can't break Sturdy on Fortress, and I can't punish Noivern and Entei coming back in, because I know I could always spin block with my Chandelure, because it's Assault Vest into the Blastoise. That's a big misplay on my part. I have the frustration knowing that this guy's coming in, so I break the Sturdy. That's okay, because I Swords Dance in front of it. Big boy Diggersby has got his massive Wang out. Spikes go up. That's okay. He kills. He's got Life Orb. He does so much damage. And he's going to force Lopunny to come in and fake out. But Noivern comes in, which tells me this thing's got bulk. I have no choice. I have to quick attack. Of course, it lives. It kills with the Z. And I lose my Diggersby. The crit did not matter. So this is going to force in the Manectric. I'm down 4-5, but it's not over. Down goes the Noivern, obviously. It's done its job. But Mudsdale can come in. Now, I should have probably had Toxic on my Manectric to work away at this Mudsdale. But I was so sure I was going to set up Rocks and Hazards this battle that I ran Raw on Mega Manectric, took inspiration from Tim, because I realised that with Hazards up, knowing Mudsdale's always going to come in on this, I click Raw. It's a huge punish. Sick game plan. Yeah, I didn't do that. So in comes the Finny. But it's going to take big Earthquakes from this AV Mudsdale. And, of course, no reliable recovery on this shitter. So Blastoise is going to come in, but don't forget this thing's also got Seismic Toss. Toxic Misty Train would have been funky. I've run it a few times, but only when I know that there's going to be some ground type that inevitably shuts down Manectric, because it's so easy to shut this one down. So I defog away the spikes, are a bit of a problem. The good thing is that my Chandelure is a tanky boy. Problem is, Blastoise is also quite tanky. I get the Spadef drop on the Energy Ball. Look at that Surf tanking. Assault Vest Chandelure. New meta. So now, Blastoise is going to have to switch out. I was thinking maybe he gets greedy and stays in. So I click Energy Ball, which is a misplay. But it doesn't matter, because I get another 10% drop. 2 in a row. 1 in 100. The game wants me to stay in the battle. I'm easily tanking the Shadow Ball with the Assault Vest. And I get the kill with the Shadow Ball thanks to the drop. So we're back to a 4v3 in my advantage. And well, we've got a Selgor in the battle here. And that's Z Focus Blast a Selgor, need I remind you, because I wasn't trying to hit a 4th Focus Blast in a row with that thing. The issue is the Lopunny and the Mudsdale are still very much alive and full health. So Mudsdale's going to come in, a double in on the Finny. Very nice play from Flupkey of sorts, but I don't really know who wins in that exchange, to be honest. I set the Reflect again, because I really cannot be taking excessive damage. I need to be able to chip this Mudsdale. Unfortunately, I take another Seismic Toss. I should probably go into Chandelure at this point. So I do, but it's an understandable play. Flupkey reads it, gets the Surf off, gets the kill. So now I'm in a really awkward spot where I can go Manectric, but obviously Mudsdale can just come in. So I have to go a Selgor. But this Blastoise is really tanky, so I need to chip it a little more with the U-turn. And just leave the bits and the job to a Selgor and Manectric. The issue is, you all know, a Selgor and a Manectric can't kill a Mudsdale. It's a huge obese horse. So Flupkey, with his improved team this time around, is pretty comfortably able to take this. Which means I'm out, unfortunately. But I can only really blame myself for clicking Thunder Wave and not Rocks, to be honest, because that screwed over my Diggersby and everything. So Flupkey still in with a chance of defending his title. So I U-turn because the only way I can possibly win the battle is catching the Mudsdale coming in. And the Flubkey obviously does not do that. He doesn't want to misplay. And Lopunny, as you would expect, has quick attack. So down goes Mellow Yellow. And then again, I still have to pray that this Mudsdale comes in. So I'm literally here like, huh! Use the Z anyway. And hope that I catch it on the switch in. Not that it matters, because that's to kill Lopunny anyway. So last time it was a 1-0 for me. This time it's a 1-0 for Flubkey, who will beat me. Third time lucky. To be fair, he was unlucky the second time. And the Rock Slide takes effect. And Mudsdale holds strong. Give me the spacing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit unfortunate that I clicked like that. Probably could have been different. But Flubkey played that battle very well. And it would have been a scam if I got into it because of 2 energy ball Spadef drops, to be honest. And I think arguably he should probably have beaten me the first time in League Play anyway. So now we have the Battle of the Greens. The Bonslys against the Appletuns. Now, this is where I stop having a clue what's going on. So, Bass has brought the Roselia. I immediately see he thinking he needs something for this Finny. I do worry that Carmine Finny, should it do the famed, of course, setup against him. I don't know if Roselia can break subs after, like, even 1 Carmine, depending on its investments. I'm a little bit worried, because Hydreigon can basically never touch Finny. In fact, nothing here can touch Finny other than, like, the physical attack of Terrakion. I think Finny probably just wins. If it is the Carmine set. There's no way Bastion's was let that do again then. So I'm thinking he has something up his sleeve. Hawlucha has come. There's a lot of potential setup late game sweepers. This is a highly offensive team that Vex has brought. I don't expect the Jirachi to do much with the Slowbro and Arcanine set there. I would assume it might be special Jirachi. So let's see. This is a very interesting one. Winner of this game will play Flubkey in the semi-finals. Alright, turn 1. And this stays in. The Lycanroc stays in with the Sash to get off an Endeavor, in fact. Safer than Firefang Miss, I guess. And kills with the Accelerock. Mega Scizor goes down. Was Mega Scizor a huge threat to this team? I guess it was an annoyance for Lucha. And Lycanroc will go down, which, to be fair, both Mons relatively inconsequential, but Vex will have the switch initiative early on to get that Finny in. Not fearing the Wild Charge, it seems. Probably max defense then. As we see the Carmine straight away. Has it got Substitute? It Moonblasts. There is no Techo Finny happening, although weirdly it's not nicknamed, so maybe that's why it's been happy to be Leech Seeded. And I'm actually really surprised that Bastions went for a Leech Seed there, not to try and break a potential Substitute. I feel like Substitute is lethal. U-turn, potentially physical Jirachi, gets Rocky helmeted by the Arcanine, who's got to be there, physically defensive boy, to potentially shut down the Hawlucha with the Intimidate, I guess. It was Batu. Batu's back at Wonder Room. So this is Carmine Wonder Room in order to shut down physical attackers. I mean, that is a really cool set from Vex, I have to say, but I think it's completely garbage because it's slower than Terrakion. So even if you want the physical defense so that Terrakion can't break through you, you're slower than it. So you have to take 1 hit. And then, I guess, if you're high enough health, you'll get the value off of it. I don't really know what this is. So this is Sub-Corrosion Toxic Salazzle. Bastion's favoring the AV Hydreigon, the Spadef Hydreigon, a lot this season. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it again as Hyper Voice to go through Substitute. That's very cool. Obviously the Protect. Yeah, Wonder Room is highly unconventional. Switching in Miss Magus on a Hyper Voice Brazely. Is it Dazzling Gleam? Double back into the Finny? But surely Roselia comes in. Yeah, it's just Roselia. Okay, so because this Finny doesn't have Substitute, I mean, it might have substitute, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, frankly, if this thing is sub-aqua ring, I think it would... I mean, Bastions could let us know what his team was afterwards, because this battle is still very much in the balance, but, like... would the same Finny set not beat this team? I don't know. Maybe it's like Haze Slowbro or something. Does it even get Haze? Alright. So some more damage on the Hydreigon of sorts, but the Leech Seed is helping, and Salazzle is going to taunt, I guess, to prevent any Roost, although I think it's AV. Misty Terrain going to go down. The spikes are up. Nice spot for Bastions. In fact, the only win con left for Vex is the Hawlucha sweep. He's got the Finny to reset the terrain if it's the Misty Seed, but Slowbro should be okay to break it, I would think. So I think this is over. But it's never too early to call. With crits and potential whatnots. Destiny Bond Mismagius. Draco misses. I have a feeling it might have lived the Draco. I don't know. Kind of depends. So Finny's going to come back in. The U-turn from Hydreigon is going to allow the Roselia in for free. This is all very cool. Is this a Jirachi? It is. Gets Leech Seeded. This is nice from Bastions. I mean, he's got this under control, you would think. There's the Rocky Helmet just ruining this Jirachi. I guess at least it's in Spike sack range. So there's a potential reset there for Vex, but this Roselia is just such a pain. The Carmine goes up again. Can Wonder Room to try and do more damage, but it also means that he gets less resistance to Sludge Bomb. So, I don't know. This is some overplaying from the Bonslys in what could be a consecutive top 4 finish for them in Draft League, and they've brought Wonder Room Finny. The mean look. Does this thing get Perish Song? I feel like it does, if I'm remembering correctly. It has! It is Perish Song! A classic mean look Perish Song. This thing has no attacking moves. So this is going to take the Roselia off the field, which would appear to be great and let Finny set up to sweep. But it's a 54%. It can't beat Terrakion. It just can't. So it's going to come down to Hawlucha. Now, why Hawlucha may be able to tank through Arcanine, because I don't think it has Wild Charge, or else it would probably have already showed it. It can't kill Slowbro. Slowbro just clicks... I guess it's Psyshock, because of Misty Terrain giving... the Misty Seed gives Spadef, I think. So it's Psyshock Slowbro. It's just game. So Stone Edge crits and kills the Finny. I don't think Vex will mind. 1, it probably didn't matter. And 2, that allows him to bring in the Hawlucha. Here is the Hawlucha. It's going to take a huge hit from Terrakion. Terrakion switches into... Oh, well, Slowbro. It doesn't really matter, right? This thing has the Sword Dance, and even then it's barely going to tickle this thing. It just clicks Psyshock. Assuming it has it is the scary thing, right? There's a Spadef raise. Scald! It's got a Chopple! But it can't burn with Scald, because terrain. Are you kidding me? You don't have a Psychic type move. What is this thing? Does Arcanine kill it? It depends if it's High Jump Kick or Drain Punch. Oh. Is it? Oh my god, it's Drain Punch. It's not even RNG this time that gives Hawlucha a sweep in playoffs. It's just Slowbro, the Hawlucha answer, not running a move to answer Hawlucha. And this is another sweep on the records for this shit Mon that is so crap and should not get kills. And now it's got the Bonslys out of an unwinnable situation to the semi-finals. Okay! I predicted Bastions to make it to the finals. I'm not sad. I'm just disappointed. Alright, we've got the rematch that we all want to see here. Oh, disclaimer. We're now getting into the Mega Latios part of the bracket. So if you want to tune out and come back for the first semi-final, you're completely welcome to. Because there is a Mega Latios here. It has come to the battle, but so has Chloritza. Thinking when the Mega Latioses are gone, I shall. Okay, here we go. Well, Subson will be desperately wanting revenge. And the good news for him is that there's no way it can go as bad for him as last time. Now, the massive mind game that Raya's done is they've brought Primeape again. The real play will be to open Primeape and just be like, threaten the final Gambit again. The Mandibuzz is there. Obviously, the Latios is a huge threat, but so is the Weavile. The Weavile is a huge threat with Clauncher decided to come. Does Clauncher get Psychic? I don't know. I mean, it does definitely do a respectable amount to Venusaur, you'd expect, but it's mainly there to U-turn more, I guess, because it also struggles against.
Tuning in for Mega Latios cringe.
Yo, Subson, what's up? I guess it just kind of gets shut down by Primarina as well. This is going to be the Mega Latios show. And the good news is it does, of course, two-hit everything on Subson's team outside Uxie. As it will probably be running Hidden Power Fighting again, you would expect. Yo, Final, what's up? Let's see, Uxie is the opener. Certainly better if, and Primeape has opened again, respect. It's going to be the U-turn this time. Gotta love ape shit.
Final hypers.
As the Mandibuzz is in. Tanks a Psychic as well. Subson not clicking rocks, meaning Rai can just freely U-turn. Not having to worry about the rocks. The rocks that are so and utterly pivotal to Subson. He doesn't click them. Who would not click Stealth Rocks when they really need to click Stealth? Couldn't be me. So Mandibuzz comes back in. Tanks another knockoff, no problem. And this time it is Subson with the U-turn. Okay, well, it's going to be a nice slow U-turn for Mandibuzz, which is the Switch Initiative bot for the Horizon. Might as well be a Cyclizar. I know that mon. One of the few Gen 9 mons I know the name of. So in comes in the Rotom Heat. Double into the Nidoqueen aggressively. Very nice play. Puts up the rocks, expecting a potential switch. Overheat tanked. Does take 2. Nice damage on Nidoqueen, though. A mon you definitely want to chip down. Looks like it's Life Orb, though, given the fact that Bubble Beam. Sheer Force Bubble Beam to hit the Rotom Heat. That is cool. You would expect usually just a Rock-type move or something, but no, Bubble Beam, which probably does hit quite hard and also catches the Excadrill, which is pretty sick because who the heck's going to expect it? The rocks are up, the Rotom's down. This is tough shit for Subson because that Rotom's important. So Excadrill, I'm assuming it doesn't have spin. Hits with an Earthquake, crits to 91%. That's a huge issue if that's Life Orb Kartana, that crit. Does go for the Swords Dance. Subson stays in and picks up the kill. Okay. There's the Chloritza. Can definitely take one hit. Forces in a Venusaur. Is it going to be a Scald Burn, maybe? Water Pulse, huge. 34%, no confusion. With the helps of the rock, that is going to have to be a Synthesis. You know what that means? Free U-turn for Mandibuzz. So here is the Latios. We'll be getting that Mega off. There's no way to be a hard switch into Weavile because that's too risky. So Latios is going to claim a soul. Tailwind. Oh, shit. I think it's GG. As long as Latios doesn't get chipped too hard, it's just over. It outspeeds Weavile. What a move. Tailwind. I mean, to be fair, it's easy to list the moves it doesn't learn. But a great idea to put Tailwind on it. Okay. Well, how does Subson play around this? And the buzz back in. U-turn to bring in the Latios. There's nothing Subson can really do because he outspeeds. So now it's just going to be like Nidoqueen, or it's just going to be Nidoqueen. It's just Nidoqueen. 30 IV Mandy to underspeed Venu. It only has to be 30? I thought you'd put it lower. But then I guess Venu's not going to run negative speed. That's good building. Because they both hit 284. Yeah. Big Dark Pulse. And down goes the Venusaur Clauncher. Hitting hard enough with, of course, those Stealth Rocks. Primarine are going to come in. There's the Moonblast. Big damage. We see Sludge Wave. That thing gets Sludge Wave? Now I understand why it was brought. It's a 4-2 advantage for Rai. And Excadrill, while it will pick up the kill, is going to need Rock Slide flinches to break through even Mandibuzz. Primeape is there. Should outspeed if this isn't choiced. It does outspeed. Chople Berry Excadrill gonna live. And that probably is a kill on the Primeape, which is cool. It does just die to Latios, though. And I think Latios just wins if it clicks Tailwind. No? A Scout of the choiceness, even though we know it's not choice. Trying to double into Mandibuzz, baiting a switch to the Weaver or something? I don't know. But then how much damage does an Ice Shard do to Weavile? I've got it in my head that Weavile doesn't 2-hit with... Because Latios is kind of built like a brick shithouse. How much damage does Weavile do? This might still kill with Ice Shard. If it's banded, probably. How much does Ice Shard do? Because the Tailwind goes up. And the Earthquake is going to do 51%. This might kill, actually. Because Rock Slide's just flinched. It does not have Ice Shard. So we will never know. Understandably, this thing probably had to run a lot of moves to try and cover everything. And you wouldn't expect a Latios to outspeed you. Tailwind, hidden power fighting, securing the game. It was closer than you would expect, given the mid-game. But we have 1 out of 2 Mega Latioses through to the semi-final. And the Gallade cannot catch a break. If it was Shard, it is about 50-50 to kill. If it's Life Orb, I assume. So, the Starmies. They lost to Mega Latios last time. And they have once again not brought the Skuntank. Why? Because there's probably not room for it. So, the Marowak probably looking to be a Lightning Rod boy to cover off. But then it does just die to 2 Psyshocks. As does literally everything. Other than Vaporeon, I guess, who gets Thunderbolted. And then there's Zygarde, who does die to a Dragon-type move. Okay. So this is a tough one for Sniper. Let's not beat around the bush here. Yeah, Mega Latios does just kill Skuntank with Earthquake. You're right. You're right. But it's not a one-shot, I don't think. So you can do like 50% if you crit with Night Slash. Okay. So the Aerodactyl's there, probably defensive. Given that we've seen a lot of defensive Aerodactyl for things like Beedrill, or potential like Rocky Helmet Punish. So the Beedrill is going to have a hard time. We'll have the Drill Run, as you'd expect for Magnezone, but playoffs we always see the berries, so you can expect a Shuka on Zone anyway, given its value for the Zygarde as well. It could be Chople to try and shut down Medicham, but Pudding's been running a lot of berries on this Magnezone, which is always good, as it's a very punishing mon when you think you can one-shot it, and you can't. There's also a Weavile there, which is a problem. So putting it with a lot of threats. You would expect him, based off League Play stature, to win, but he's still got to get the job done himself. And it's a poor turn 1, because Medicham's going to immediately get a high jump kick off. Donphan, one of the few mons tanky enough neutrally not to get 2-shot by it, forcing in a Vaporeon, and will get those rocks up. What value rocks they are. 3 mons weak to it. And I don't see a way to remove them unless defog Beedrill. Beedrill is in, for the record. This could actually be a defog, predicting the switch out from the Preen-Arena, because it's a lovely double from Sniper. It is Poison Jab, however. We'll get the Poison on the Aerodactyl, who is not Rocky Helmet, but is Leftovers, so it's going to be forced to roost on a U-turn to Zygarde. And does Aerodactyl have Ice Fang? Does Zygarde have Weakness Policy? These are the questions we'd love to see. I'm expecting probably Yachi Zygarde anyway for Weavile Ice Shard coverage. So Sniper is feeling relatively safe clicking that Dragon Dance, which is pretty cool. Goes with 1,000 arrows, but is not a kill on the defensive Aerodactyl. We'll get a little bit more chip off, but this is a problem because it's Domfan who can probably break any Yachis with Ice Shard. Although I guess it does open up the battle for Beedrill. However, I am expecting either Sturdy or Shooker Magnezone to shut it down. I don't think Pudding would oversight that. So Domfan actually ends up going for the Earthquake, and with the help of the Toxic, Zygarde does go down. So here's Medicham. +1 Outrage doing 40. I mean, it's a Zygarde. Latios is in. Psyshock, 35%. That's a max defense Vaporeon, it must be, which means Thunderbolt is coming. But then hopefully, wow, it's pointless bringing in Marowak, considering Rocks plus Psyshock might kill it. Thunderbolt, 51%. Paralysis. Okay. Well, Vaporeon thinks it's a Chonker. It thinks it can stall out. But this is not an ordinary Mon. The first turn! The first turn! I mean, to be fair, it could have been instant paralysis. But, I mean, that was a losing battle. That was a losing battle, having to try and heal up. But Sniper just wanted the one heal pin missile to counter any substitute. That is very cool. Does hit 4 times. Will it be a hard Magnezone switch? Pudding shouldn't... He does risk it. That was really risky. But Drill Run does proc. It does have a Shooker. And down goes the Beedrill. I think that's GG. Ninetales could freeze to win. Scarf Ninetales. Freeze dry. Here we go. Probably not Scarf. Maybe it is Scarf, honestly. Just needs the freeze. One freeze dry. Crits! No freeze. Alright, it might already be an Ice Shard range, depending on the spreads. No, because it's leftovers, but that does mean it's out. That does mean it is outspared. Just to beat Sash Steve any lead. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, what's up, Mojo? Good to see you, man. I think we've got one of the famous matchups. I think we're going to get to see it. I mean, in football, you've got the El Clasico. But in Draft League, you've got the El Latio. And that's going to be our second semi-final. I'm pretty confident of it. Shadow Bone, 23%. This is Lightning Rod. Hidden Power Ghost. Very cool. Expecting the Lightning Rod attempted shutdown of the Magnezone. It's kind of cool. This is the first match. This is the 4th match. It was ground. Okay. Well, let's go Medicham. You got this, my bro. That is a summary of Sniper season, unfortunately, I think. It has had its highs, but it is put down by Pudding and the Mega Latios. And I'll give you an update on the bracket. Here things are. So if you're just joining us, the Wailords Deino are still in with a shout to defend their title. They were able to best meet, hand me my first and only loss of the season. I maybe clicked Thunderwave under Misty Terrain, but you don't have to go and see that in the VOD. The Bonslys were able to overturn and completely scam out the Appletons of their first top 4 of their history, but the joke is that it wasn't the Bonslys who scammed them, it was Bastions who scammed himself by not running a Psychic type move on Slowbro to shut down Horlucha. Mimikyu had a Tailwind Mega Latios, which is cool, even for Mega Latios especially, to beat out the Weavile of the Gloucestershire Gallade, and the Belfast Blazikens had a Mega Latios against the Starmies. So we move on to our first semi-final, the Wailords Deino against the Buckingham Bonsly. The grand final, when we get there, will be played live. That has not been played. which is going to be good. Do the Latios Derby first. Get it out of the way. Sure. Right. We have got Latios and Latios. This is it. This is what we came to see this season. Frankly, this is what I came to see this season. It is most successful, most statistically successful player in Smiles Go for Miles history on the far side, and probably the most successful Smiles Go for Miles player on the near side. Both are armed with the same weapon. Some would say this is an even fighting ground. Rye would probably quite fairly point out that Pudding does have a Weavile as a bit of a backup henchman to Mega Latios. But let's see what else we've got. Well, actually, there's a Greninja. And the Greninja is also a huge deal. So I'd say this is actually kind of even. The Mandibuzz is still pretty much free to click U-turn on everything other than Weavile and Magnezone and kind of Mega Latios and Primarina. So it's not ideal, although it does actually kind of outspeed non-Scarf Primarina, so that's kind of okay. Please tell me what Primarina answer is. Well, it doesn't really look like it brought one, although it definitely can't one-shot Latios without specs, and you probably one-shot it with Thunderbolt if you just crit. Obviously, the Circuitry is there. I wouldn't expect Assault Vest Circuitry, but if there was a match for it to come, probably here. It is pretty good against Magnezone as well, so we'll see. As for the turn 1 leads, I guess Pudding would be relatively keen to get rocks up, just because Rye definitely struggles with the rocks, given the Mandibuzz is the backbone and it hates to switch into them. It will always switch in when it thinks they're going up. So this is going to be an interesting mind game for the semi-final. We have a Latios Open and an on-ball response. Alright, we'll be happy with that, forcing an early switch to the Primarina as Rye goes for Draco Meteor. Probably looking to cover a hard switch into the Weavile. And that's a big turn, as in comes the Hydro Pump from Primarina, and Nidoqueen is down. There's Magnezone with the Circuitry. Thunderbolt. That's a lot of damage, but not enough. No item revealed on the Magnezone. We see a stay in and Thunderbolt, because why not? Punishing the greedy Volt Switch, that still will be Switch Initiative to Pudding to bring in the Domfan, who is just like, well, if you're not choiced, show me. Looks to set the rocks and does so. Latios in. Is it brave enough to click Draco again? It's a very hard move to pick. Energy Ball, 70% damage. There's your Primarina answer. Scarf Primarina. Down goes Latios. It's GG. Latios gone. Surely. Scarf Primarina it is. Perfect reveal. And Rye was, to be honest, kind of backed into a bit of a corner there. If it was Scarf, it was Scarf. As the close combat is going to struggle to break down the Domfan. Toxic is placed on the Mandibuzz. Pudding still very much in control. Greninja has so much work to do, and the issue is it's outsped by Weavile as well. Foul Play will crit, but this is problematic because Moonblast can just kill. Domfan back in. Another close combat. 32%. Could be a roll, potentially. Goes for it. Doesn't land it. Primeape down. It's fallen apart. And Greninja is just here to pray. Magnezone in. Domfan still of great value to stop Circuitry being able to click an electric type move to play for the win, and potential paralysis is. So in comes the Weavile. Outspeeds. Brick Break. Scarf. Circuitry has to click Dazzling Gleam, I guess. As there is the Ice Shard. And if Domfan has Ice Shard, that may be game. If not, we play for crits. And this could get very, very wild. Well, an Ombor is here. And it has Sucker Punch to finish off the battle. And it's another grand finals for the Belfast Blazikens. They go through convincingly with a 4-0. Will he be facing the reigning champions, the Wailords Deino, in the final? Or will it actually be the Buckingham Bonsly, who, of course, are looking at back-to-back top 4s this season, after last season? Very much proving themselves to be up there with the elite, potentially redefining it. Well, beating the reigning champions would be some way to do that. The Gengar has come, as has the Entei. Will it be Subcar Mind Entei? These are the questions. Double Mudsdale, in fact. Another absolutely insane mon. In Draft League. Let's see. It's a Finny lead into a Lopunny. Vex should be relatively happy with that. Might be a free fake out regardless. Mudsdale's going to come in. Maybe looking for a Rocky Helmet punish. Indeed, it is a fake out. It is not Rocky Helmet, and it's not Leftovers. Surprising play. Vex does have the rocks. Interesting. Maybe it's not going to be Resto Chesto with Misty Terrain. I'm very curious what that item is, actually. Rapid Spin immediately gets rid of that said rocks. Leftovers revealed on the Rotom. We see a Fortress switch. As there is the Thunderbolt, critting for 74%. A big, big crit. Flupkey would have taken 2 without it, and actually just goes down to a second Thunderbolt. That's huge. Mudsdale is right here. And that looks like Max Spadef. In comes Mudsdale. Against Mudsdale. Rocks go up again. Will rocks go up on the other side of things? Yes, they will. As we see Entei forced to come in on the Stealth Rocks. As Leaf Storm batters into it. And Vex tries to press the advantage. Gengar is in. And now Tapu Fini. Well read by Flupkey. Remaneuvering. Always dials up the predictions slowly as the battle goes on. Forces in a switch to Mudsdale, who can't take another hit. This Gengar is an immense threat. And the issue, of course, is that it's a speed tie with Accelerock. And in comes Lycanroc. Mr. Accelerock. So Mudsdale comes out. And well, Lycanroc really cannot do much about that. One Mudsdale is still very much alive. Rotom is in. And out. Lovely roar from Flupkey. And his Leftovers are going to do absolute work. As Jirachi has to U-turn. And this might be another roar, I think. Rotom not being allowed to come in. It's not a roar. Okay, well, Rotom is allowed in. And with a Leaf Storm, suddenly the tide turns slightly again. As we see Entei coming in, effectively sacked off. This is close. This is close. Actually going to be Thunderbolt. Confident read from Vex, rightly so. This Mudsdale knows that Rotom is the only immediate threat, barring Finny's moveset. So actually, Axel comes back in. Tanks a Leaf Storm. And I'm not sure what the plan was there. Maybe just pretending to have Rindo. Maybe trying to bluff Vex. And if there's anyone who's not going to get bluffed, it is Vex, who switches in on the return. It's close, but tanks it. Does the Lycanroc, who with Protect, just try and scout Quick Attack. Even though I think it would probably have lived. Does get some chip off with Accelerock. I am surprised to see this go down with the Gengar still alive. But frankly, I think Hawlucha's probably got this one in the bag. with Mudsdale down. I don't like to say it like this, but I think Hawlucha's got this in the bag. Then Headbutt picks up the kill on the Blastoise. Here is the Gengar. Finny will come in. Is Gengar choiced? I think it is. As there is the Surf to chip away. And Hawlucha need only click Acrobatics twice. And the battle is over. Who will win the season? Vex, the Buckingham Bonsly, and the Hawlucha that has come back out, and I think most people probably forgot he had it after League play. Or will it be Pudding finally breaking the second place curse with the help of a Megaladios? Sorry. This is truly the best timeline, as there is the live, in fact, from the Lopunny, but Quick Attack is not enough, and the Bonslys go through. We will have a new champion in Season 10. As I will ask our two finalists. We will also have a new champion in Season 10, just by matter of odds, so it's probably a fair statement. But you're right, it is Season 9. What am I saying? Third place game is between Rye and Flupkey. The Rotom has come, as has the Lileep. Slurpuff and Flareon are back out. Often we see some of the most creative sets in the third place match. Now, this is probably a matchup that more, at least at the start of the season, we're expecting to be the grand final itself. While they certainly got close, and they can be proud of their season, but who will go home with the most bragging rights? Well, here is the immediate zappy opener, tanking a fake out to the face. This thing's like, you know what, bro? I'm scarfed, even if I might not be. Go to Mudsdale. And here is the Mudsdale. Is it a... Fuck it, I'm just going to predict. It's a Reflect Circuitry. Okay. In comes the Latios. That is cool. Lileep is in. Dragon Dance behind the Reflect. Is it Substitute? It's Calm Mind Dragon Dance. This thing is going... Hyper mode. Ancient Power. Can Lileep get the boost as well? Rotom Frost going to come in. Another Calm Mind. Well, here's the Stored Power. Bonk. What does it have for Mudsdale? Mudsdale will tank. Does it have Roar? It has Endeavor. Pretty cool. As Reflect will go down. Is Fake Out plus Quick Attack enough? Well, here's the Fake Out. It's a double to sack the Lileep, but I think the Lileep might live. It does, which may allow a Roost if it has it. It won't have Roost because it needs a move to cover for Hooper, but I think the Latios has done plenty enough damage. And Lopunny, it's not even going to be allowed to die. Lopunny will put a switch into the Flareon. I think Flareon might just die. It does. As we may see a Nidoqueen. Or a Slurpuff, in fact. There's Noivern. Could it be Belly Drum? Surely not. It is going to be Belly Drum in the face. Because it can just tank a return, no problem, and still get this off. Bonk. Down it goes. Not fearing the Fake Out. Was quite happy to call the bluff. Twice, in fact. Not just there, but on turn one as well. And right, with unorthodox sets, will simply just really Swagger on Flupkey with the bluffs. As the poor man is going to be dumpstered 5-0 in the third place match after a lot of Techo time. And that is fair. Flupkey admits that he has Gravity Hooper so that Mudsdale could Earthquake Latios. But we never got to see it, I'm afraid. But that is fantastic. The things people are willing to do to try and deal with this Mon. Electrium Z Zap Cannon Flareon. I don't even know it got Zap Cannon. That's great. Right. Let's see. We have got ourselves a grand final. Can I get a salute for luck? No, fuck you. You have a fucking Mega Latios. I want to see you lose. Good luck. Neither team can win. I mean, to be honest, I don't really care. It's Mega Latios. Or it's Horlucha. For me, I'm a loser either way after that classic playoffs performance. Well, I mean, to be fair, often I would say it's been RNG. This time it was just me. I've opened the same replay. Don't mind me. Because this is live. So Pudding winning does mean a win for Smiles. It has to be said. And that is good to see. I await the beginning of the battle patiently. And you shall see it when it is live. Point prediction. Good idea. You've got 2 minutes to predict. The final is live. And you can absolutely adore it right here. I've got the logos wrong. And we've got a Lee Vanny. Will it be the classic Sash Lee Vanny lead, or is that simply a bait? From the Belfast Blazikens here in the Season 9 Finals. The Finals. This is what it all comes down to. This is what it's all about. We have a Latios. We have a Lucha. This is where the Bonslys truly attempt to be the zero to hero of Smiles Go for Miles Draft League history. This is where Pudding attempts to finally not come second. What happened to the prediction? I don't know what happened to the prediction. Wrong way around on the logos. Easy. Alright, the lead. It's a Magnazone lead into Levanny. Levanny does not care. It is going to click the webs, whether you like it or not. Or is it, though? Because the webs are only really there as a probably likely tool to stop any Scarf shenanigans with Magnazone or Primarina. But primarily for Weavile to be outsped by Lycanroc. Now, it's very interesting because Domfan is obviously the one that wants to get rid of these. Defog Aerodactyl would be a go-to for Pudding right now, but the fact he hasn't clicked that straight away. Vex has clicked Timer, which I absolutely have to respect as a big balls move, but he's also put it off. So, yeah, Leavanny is called Congrats. So it's very interesting because Latios is kind of forced to come in here as the Bane to make the most of the switch initiative, because Donphan obviously can't just stay and spin safely in front of a Leavanny. The question is, what move does Latios click? Now, it has to kind of ensure that Leavanny dies, or else an X-Scissor could prove a lot of damage, even for a Mega Latios. But the obvious switch-in is, say, Finny. Now, Finny, having had to deal with this mon before, really isn't a safe switch, as if you don't go max special defense, you are two-shot by Thunderbolt. Pudding will know this, and he's got the option to predict with Thunderbolt on the table there. The big thing is, if he over-predicts and Vex is just like, well, Leavanny's done its job now, I'm happy to sack it. It's a huge 50-50 call. It may not be exactly 50-50 on the odds, but it's massive whether Vex actually goes to Finny or not. The alternative play, of course, is if he's running Spadef Rotom Mo, that could be a good middle ground, but it's only going to be a middle ground, like, once. And Pudding could play very interestingly if he has Substitute and put that as a cheap scout. Does just click Psyshock, and it's taken by Rotom Mo, who must clearly be very physically, defensively invested to take that Psyshock without being two-shot. Pudding will know this, and he will know that if he's running Draco Meteor, it is a kill. Vex likewise. He's revealed the leftovers on the Rotom Mo, and he has to think, what do I want to die? Because this Mon, it's named the Mastermind, it's Mega Latios. As you can see, it puts on this much offensive pressure by just existing. Because unless you're lucky enough to draft a particular Mon, your default go-to Scarfer against it cannot one-shot it. It's too bulky. It basically doesn't... It has half a Dark-type weakness because you always want to run Knockoff. But obviously, there you go. It can't take as much damage from Knockoff. So you basically castrate your Dark-type by having to run a non-Knockoff move on it because it takes no damage from Knockoff. So Vex has to accept, yep, my Rotom Mo just dies. But the issue is that if Leavanny isn't Scarf here, it does just die to Ice Beam. Where is Jirachi or Absol? I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I think Vex is all in on an offensive sweep with the webs up and the terrain up. Now, Magnezone's going to come in, respecting that this may indeed be Scarf Leavanny, which, to be honest, the way it's been played, you would expect that. Which means it's a free Volt Switch for Pudding. Looking like the battle might be over unless Pudding misplays, to be honest with you. I don't want to be that guy. But there's no ground type to block this Volt Switch. So an X-Scissor is going to be what it is. Once Leavanny goes down, that is one of the few remaining Mons that is happy about Mega Latios. So Donphan can just rocks here. It can just spin. Pudding is in a hugely commanding position. And we're going to see the Hawlucha come in. Does Donphan just Ice Shard away? Does it just have Roar? It should have something for Hawlucha. There it is. Swords Dance. Of course, you've got to realise that Vex has done this without Finny setting terrain. And it's not Citrus Berry Hawlucha. And being punished by Rocky Helmet. Yeah, so Vex's theme is congrats. I think this is on. This would be winning your first, probably, title. Yeah, I mean, this hasn't been the most handsomely played battle. Clearly, Vex had an idea about how this might go down. But it's all just fallen apart. And I think it's fair to say at this point that it's pretty in the bag for Pudding, who will finally have his Smiles Go for Miles title in Season 9, and rightly so. Only to drop in 3 battles, I think, to Azazel. And he dropped another, I can't remember. Is it a depressing final? I mean, I feel like Mega Latios just it forces you into desperation. You have to do such unconventional things. You know? Azazel Bastions and myself. Iron Defense. Hold up. Hold up. Magnezone is in immediately. Here's the Calm Mind. This thing has to keep Calm Minding. It just has to keep Calm Minding. It has no choice. And it outspeeds! Oh my god! That's too much damage. This thing needs to surf, unfortunately. It does kill. This battle is not over. This battle is a long way from over. The Iron Defense Calm Mind. I cannot believe it. Vex has running enough speed to outspeed Magnezone. You wouldn't do that unless Magnezone probably might not be running at any speed itself, potentially. So Pudding is in a real spot. And I might have cursed this because he needs to basically Stone Edge crit, from what I imagine. Just needs to chip away. The issue is with leftovers, right? It's going to do so little. Weavile is probably running Poison Jab, but after Iron Defense, that's like 30% max. So that thing's going to go down as well. You know, what is the last move from Finny? I would expect Moonblast. You're forced to run Moonblast against Latios. You would lose the Calm Mind battle either way. So in comes the Weavile, looking to try and chip into range. It is running Poison Jab, 27%. Man, I know my rolls. And down goes Weavile immediately. And here is the Latios. Thunderbolt, 29%. Not enough. Down goes Latios. Now, Primarina may not outspeed, which is an issue. Because even though it does live, does it kill? I would expect it to, if it's invested with Moonblast. It will take a heavy hit, and it is going to be Primarina. It outspeeds and it kills. We're back to a 3v2. Accelerock is on the field, but you're right, Salazzle is too. Critically, Aerodactyl is still alive, and it still outspeeds. What is this set? It's Z. Acid Downpour. It's a lot of damage, but it's not enough. Vex has blown his load, and I'm afraid he may have to tank an Earthquake to the face with Lycanroc, which is going to struggle to live, but live it does, forcing a switch into the Domfan with Rocky Helmet as punish. Vex therefore has to use a non-contact move, but the fact is he can only win if he doubles back into Salazzle, which Pudding could just predict. He's got the Extramon over, he doesn't have to go to Domfan. But the only way Vex can win, in usual terms, would be to double on a potential Domfan switch into Salazzle. That's a real problem, because even then Pudding can go back into Aerodactyl, which still resists both Salazzle stabs and outspeed, so Pudding should still have this under control. But he would, of course, die to an Accelerock if he stays in. Therefore, it's a double into Salazzle on the Domfan, and now it'll be back into the potential Aerodactyl, I would expect. Or not. I guess, to be fair, it doesn't matter. Because Aerodactyl still kills the Lycanroc. Should it choose to come back in. It outspeeds Salazzle, it kills Salazzle, and the only way Vex can win now is if this Primarina doesn't have that much bulk on it, and Stone Edge crits. That's the only way. And even then, I think it might live. And that's if it's running Stone Edge. And it's running Life Orb, so actually it would die in this. It would die in this process. So here's Primarina. It wouldn't outspeed unless it's Scarf. It could be Scarf. It's Aqua Jet Primarina. We'll never know. It's 1-0. And Pudding will take it. The Aqua Jet to cover off the Lycanroc. Very cool. I can try and put that in a damage calc for you, just for peace of mind. As I am curious. So a Stone Edge crit would kill. Yeah, Stone Edge crit would kill. But it had to be crit. You click Stealth Rock? That's fair. I guess you didn't have Stone Edge. Got to sign Vex's profile. I mean, if there's anyone's profile we need to sign right now, it's Pudding. He survived the threat of the Tapu Fini. Imagine if Vex didn't sack Leavanny before going into Fini. That is true. That is true. If you look back at that. But it was kind of a tough situation, right? Because he didn't want to hard switch in the Fini But then knowing it's an Ice Shard, I guess you could. I mean, it's a very big turn in hindsight, but we wouldn't have known it at the time, right? And Pudding had to play it right. And no one, Mons he needed to... I mean, to be fair, it was more about which Mons could actually combine to kill the Finny. Because it was a real scare after what was an incredibly comfortable start. But the Blazikens have done it. And Season 9 has concluded with quite the final in the end. A 1-0 win. Do I get an interview? Sure.
Hello.
Whoa, my God, you scared me. That was loud. Sorry. I will adjust. Congratulations, first and foremost. How did you find the final? That was a little close at the end there.
I'm like still shaking. I was terrified when that Finny came in and played Iron Defense.
Yep.
And then I obviously brought Magnus in and I thought it would live a Surf. It didn't, so I kind of just had to sack like half of my team. But luckily I still had the Aerodactyl in the back, which was my game plan for the Salazzle. And from that point on, it was just about playing it safe. But I think like the early game pretty much won me the game, anyways. I think I led well, and I read that the leave Annie was Scarf.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird. It was a bit weird that it came in on Latios. So I would have been surprised if he was beating Scarf. But oh man, it feels good to finally break the second place curse.
I mean, it's a pretty good average. It's a pretty good average finish. You come second, first. I don't think there's anyone who can really match that. You beat the Starmies, the Mimikyu. Were you scared at any point during those battles? Because they looked relatively comfortable.
Yeah, well, they felt comfortable after playing them, but prepping for, well, they'll say I had the matchup, which I did, I think, against Horizon, and against that Sniper is a bit closer, but against Horizon, that my Hydro Pump on the turn 2 against Nidoqueen pretty much won me the game instantly.
Yeah.
Even after a bad lead. I feel like I led terribly in both of those games, so I kind of had to do something to make up for it. But no, it feels good. But I'm definitely not expecting to replicate this performance next season, because I'm very terrible at Gen 9. I have no idea what half of the Pokemon
That's
do.
okay. You're reigning champion. You got to defend it now. I mean, it was tough. Flupkey had to try, but I think he just kind of got roughed with the matchup against Vex. It was a tough time, and he couldn't. Yeah.
All right. I just want to say as well. Obviously, fair play to Vex, getting to his first finals, and he had me like at the end there. That was terrifying, but obviously very well played to him. He deserved to make finals for sure. He had a pretty difficult run, beating Bass and Flipkey.
It's back to back. It's back to back top 4s for him, and well, even better than top 4 this time.
Yeah, so it's good to see as well. Like everyone's improving so much in the league now as well. But the competition's getting higher. Like I wouldn't have thought when I joined, like after the first season, that Vex would be in finals this season, but he's improved massively. And there's so much more competition now, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, to think about a throwback, you can probably see it on the stream. This is the playoffs from last season. Obviously, the Bonsly did make a bit of a run. They may have Thunderbolt paralyzed in this occasion, but I can only blame myself. There was the one of many Horlucha sweeps. Here, the Jolteons against the Altares. I actually don't particularly remember that battle, strangely. Blossom took out the Hooper. It was the Liden trying to make a run. The Mimikyu. It was another semi-final between the Deino and the Bonslys. Actually perfectly replicated, but this time the Bonslys got their revenge. Last time it was a very different affair. That feels like a long time ago. That was the 25th of September. We're now 6 months later, and who knows how long next season will be as well.
And I'm sure you're glad Megaladios won as well.
I am. I am. You know, it would have looked a bit weird if it lost, to be fair. In hindsight, really, the MVP of your draft, the unsung hero, probably Primarina, looking at the numbers. I mean, I don't know what it was like playing with the draft as a whole, like each individual one. Like, what's memorable? What are you going to take from this draft?
Well, I think I proved that Weavile is as good as I was saying it was when I was first talking about it. And then I think with those top 5 that I have there, the Megaladios, Weavile, Zone, Donphan, Primarina, like probably like the best core that I've drafted. Like the Magnezone was so good for Latios trapping the steel types, and then Weavile deals with all the psychic types and everything, and Primarina was just so good. You saw against Horizon in semi-finals, just was able to play it aggressively and get 3 kills that easily. So yeah, and now it's like getting Calm Mind as well, the next gen, so...
I mean, I think it says enough when you brought every single one of those top 5 at least 17 times through the season. Actually wild. I mean, the finalists, obviously the Bonsly here, they have a somewhat similar affair. But
shout out to Halucha, the goat.
You know, Mega Absol tried to feature, it didn't. We've got 7 Mons with a good... I mean, you expect the Mega Absol, but then you realize it can't switch on actually anything. Like, every single one of your Mons
actually... on a sack for Laddie because... Well, number one, well, actually, it doesn't kill Latios with Sucker Punch anyway.
Exactly. That's like, it's not that... It's, yeah, I don't know when... It's always one of them Mons that looks good on paper, but I'd rather use a Mega Sceptile. You actually can't bring... You can't bring Mega Absol. You start the battle 5v6. It's actually a nightmare.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
well, like,
it was a tier 3 Mega, which allowed Vex to draft a lot of strong Mons. So...
Yeah, the thing with that was in the matchup, like I couldn't run like Dragon Pulse or Draco to kill the Mega Absol because of Finny, so I kind of just had to bank on if it came to chip it down before it came in on Laddie and hope that I was full HP. So
yeah.
Or try and mind game the Sucker Punches, but whenever I saw the Leavani come in, I was kind of happier. I mean, like webs obviously are annoying, but like I had spin and he had no blocker, so.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, York of GC, definitely the more options you've got, the better. I mean, to be fair to Puddin, even though he's won this season fair and square using a lot of the same 5 Mons, it's always about how you mix that up and how you diversify their sets, you know, to keep them staying unpredictable. And well, when you've got Mons like Mega Latios, you can run any set on that thing, and you keep mixing up so people can't read it. I feel like Flubkey played this season well to get another top 4. Obviously, it's not the highs of last season, but personally, I feel like his draft was a bit weaker, honestly. I didn't look that easy to play. There's a lack of, like, initiative. There's not much U-turn action. There's not much Volt Switch. He's stuck with the old school spinners, Blastoise and Fortress. Like, I think he did a good job. Obviously, the Mudsdale, always going to be one of the champion Mons in draft, I feel like, but still.
I saw Flubkey's team at the start of the season. I didn't think he'd get as far as he did, to be honest. Because I thought the team was, like, a lot worse than his one from last year, but then he made it, obviously. The Latios came out, and the Hoopa came in with it, or I don't even know. But yeah, fair play to him as well. He's got a pretty high average finish now as well, 1st and 4th, or 3rd, 4th.
And the Mimikyu's most offensive draft of all time in their history, which is cool. They got a lot of offense. I mean, the real MVP is Mandibuzz, though. That thing was an absolute slut. It just sold its body for U-turn all battle, all season long. I think I want to run the numbers. You want some stats to calculate, right? I want to know, of all the turns that Mandibuzz was in a battle, what percentage did it click U-turn or defog? I need to know. I guess Roost might feature about 10% of the time. This thing was... It's just insane. Like,
Cortana finishes MVP, I think, off of that. Or no, it doesn't. I think maybe your Manectric does.
Possibly, because I think, I mean, Manectric didn't do anything against Floppy. I just died because I didn't do enough damage because I didn't have rocks up. But we don't need to talk about that. No, Manectric finishes 22-1. And to be fair, I had a very similar affair with these 5 Mons as to you did with yours. But Manectric only came like 12 times. And my real MVP was Aurorus, who got 9 kills in 4 battles. Which is what it's all about. And actually Swallow. But no. That is Season 9. And you, Pudding, are no longer a Silver Melodist merchant. You're above 80% win rate on the overall tab. It makes you 37-9 of all time. You are 80%. That 80% club has 1 member. And it is you. Question will be whether the likes of the Subs and Harry brothers or the return of a Mojack can break up into what is a top 5 of all time. That Flupkey, I think, likewise this season has, proven that last season was no fluke. He is very much up there and is a target for all the other players, including Sigmoid, who I would love to see get a W. That is my motivation. for this season. And yes, you're right. You have nearly caught Failures. That's not just you getting better, but that's also Failures collecting losses like trading cards. That's what he does. So not bad for Vex, who has, of course, played 99 games in Draft League and will hit the 100 next season. Do you think you'll get up to 100 games, Pudding?
We'll see, is all I'll say. We'll see.
46. You're at 46. You're nearly halfway. It races by. It really does. Is the boy to sign up for next season? I don't know. All I can say is that sign-ups for next season are open. If you haven't done them, then type !Discord and take a look at them. Check out whether you want to play. There is a sheet that I can probably bring it up. I haven't looked at it much of Mons and what they do, and here it is, the Gen 9 tier list. Now, if you're not familiar with Gen 9, good luck. So we've got all sorts of funk coming in. We got the obviously Aegislash still in. Is it what is banned in Gen 9? Is what I need to find out. So there is no Calyrex, no Chi-Yu, that's the fire fish that does a lot of damage. No Chen Pao, which is better Weavile, so Weavile will still probably be tier 1, I guess. It is, by the looks of it, isn't it? It is. I've been told that Mega Latios is banned because it also gets Aura Sphere and Mystical Fire. I'm honestly surprised. I would have thought that if we're going to see something crazy next season like Galarian Darmanitan, I mean, we're going to see some bonks next season. Some bonks. That's what I'm going to say. I'm looking forward to streaming the games and just watching what's going on while not really knowing what's going on. There's still no Mega Blaziken, but I think normal Blaziken is allowed with Speed Boost. No, it's no Speed Boost Blaziken in Tier 3. Poor guy. How is Blaziken without a Speed Boost? I mean, he'll try.
Can't even draft my mascot and have it be a good thing.
No, it's a bit sad. Blaziken without Speed Boost in Tier 3. Isn't he allowed it now with Speed Boost in OU? Oh, he has U-turn. He has U-turn. That's all I need to hear. Okay, Palafin is banned. That's the superhero dolphin thing.
Sounds
yeah,
like you've been doing a lot of research and know your Gen 9 and that you're...
I do. Fluttermane is the Misdreavus thingy that comes in with a choice specs, I think. A bit like how Galarian Darmanitan comes in with a choice band. But apparently that's okay. So it's going to shred some boys. Why? Because there are now Mons with 300 base defense, like Garganackle and the Goldengo, who doesn't care about any move ever. The Great Tusk, better Domfan that gets moves that I don't know. Iron Bundle. Where's the Dancing Flamingo thing? What's that called? The Stored Power Bot.
Oh, I think it's about...
S. Where is it? Espathra. There it is. Yeah, that thing's going to do work as well. That's going to be the new Hawlucha, I think. Hawlucha's probably down in Tier 3. No, it's not. It's Tier 2. Hatterene is still up there in Tier 2, my boy. I love Hatterene. It's like one of the few Mons that gets Magic Bounce without having to Mega. Quite cool, and it's also more bulky than an Espeon. Which you may think that we'll get to see some cool bounces and some cool plays. No, because if you're drafting a defensive Mon now, it needs to have twice as much defense and no teleport or flip turn, because you've got to bring in Mons with momentum. And what's better for that than Cyclizar, who was so good at it we had to ban Shedtail. So it's now just a bad Tornadus with Regenerator and U-turn. So yeah. Yeah, Toxtricity, Choice Specs, and Boom Burst. Is Toxtricity the thing that was in the last gen? Gen 8? The throat spray thing?
Yeah, it should be bottom of Tier 2 or 3.
I gather it's in Tier 3 if it has Terra. Ah, there we go. Okay. So basically, look forward to a season of one-shots and one-bangs. It's going to be entertaining. We're not going to know what the hell is going on. It's going to be fantastic. The streams are going to be half as long, so you don't have to worry about tuning in, because all the battles are going to be over in 15 turns. I look forward to doing a draft review of all the drafts that I don't have a clue what they do. That'll be the next Draft League content. You can catch me live tomorrow with the return of Attempt 35 of Emerald Kaizo, which, of course, if you're very astute, you'll know that the last Emerald Kaizo stream didn't go very well. But the 1035 is still very much alive and still going strong. And we've got Flannery versus Trox again, hopefully tomorrow. So that's good to see. I saw Houndstone was in tier 3, but is it allowed to use Last Respects? I don't know what Last Respects is, but everyone's saying no, so I'd assume no. A reminder that if you're new, then please do join !Discord. And one last time, because frankly, I always feel that the playoffs of the season never get enough time and respect. Mainly, I guess, because, you know, for players, a lot of them aren't in it at that point, so it's less easy to be as interested, but this is where the prestige of the season comes through. And our champion, rightly so, who's right here with me, is Captain Pudding. And the Belfast Blazikens will go into next season, even if they've got a blindfold on, to some extent, they will be our defending champions. Now, I look forward to seeing them there. Good luck for that, Pudding. And once again, congratulations on winning Season 9.
Thank you. I have one last thing to say. Can everyone thank
You can.
Steve and Rai for all their work this season, please? Because that's like, what, 20 weeks?
Mainly Rai, to be honest. I just show up and click the go live button. It's quite an easy job. However, Rai has to just bawl their eyes out just staring at cells. But to be honest, that's what they do for a job. So we know what? Maybe we should just start paying them. Let's not, because monetary things don't get involved. And the other thing I need to mention, Pudding, is that assuming you're comfortable with it, or you'd rather give me like a PO box, let me know what you want, because I am perfectly willing to send you a hoodie, which is the prize for winning the season. You can send me your address, or you can send me like a PO box nearby, and I will send you a Blazikens hoodie if that's okay with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and indeed, you'll have to let me know what logo you want on it, because I gather that Iserdo has made you a sort of revamped logo, but if you want to stick to your normal logo, I'm fine with that. Either way, it doesn't matter to me, as I haven't made a design yet, because you are not yet in your 5th season. So yes, I will sort that out. Stream doesn't need to know about that. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, and I look forward to the next season of Draft League. Enjoy.